What's up everyone, and welcome back to Top 5 Central. Today we're looking at the top 10 most embarrassing and funniest moments on live TV part 11. Now we've made so many episodes of this in the past, so if you want to watch all of them, click the top link in the description and it'll bring you to a full playlist of all the episodes. Anyways, let's see if we can hit a crazy like goal of 10,000 likes on this video, and if we can manage to get that, we'll keep making this a series, but with that said, let's get right into the video. Number 10. Okay, so I guess if you work in TV for long enough, even the small mistakes will start to get you down, because this dude totally overreacted to a mess up that wasn't even a big deal. Basically, Doug introduced a reporter outside the studio, but the footage didn't show up, so he just assumed it wasn't coming and tried to move on. However, the second he started on the news story, the reporter started talking, and he didn't deal with it too well. I mean, he straight up threw his papers up in the air and walked completely out of frame, hopefully to look for a job that didn't make him so miserable.
One person is dead after a shooting in southwest Albuquerque. Action 7 News reporter Christine Pay is at the scene with what we know. Apparently we don't have that story. Right now, astronomers at the University of
investigation in southwest Albuquerque. You can see right here at Lindsay Place near.
Number 9. Let's be honest, most TV mistakes tend to be pretty small, and if you're lucky, your audience might not even notice. With that said, this screw up was so huge that there's no way anybody missed it, and the BBC are probably not going to be able to forget about it for a long time. I mean, it wasn't their fault. Basically, a computer glitch meant that the opening theme was played over and over again on loop, with random bits of footage being thrown in for good measure. Even worse, we get to see the presenter sitting silently for like 2 minutes with no idea the camera's on him. Then he launches into his intro-like thing like nothing happened, which I just find super awkward but funny.
Tonight at 10.
Number 8. Okay, accidental innuendos are always funny, but I'm having a really hard time believing these guys didn't know exactly what they were saying. Like the hosts were talking about burglaries and home invasions, but pretty soon they were swapping stories about what long stabby things they keep next to their beds to fight off intruders. That's bad enough, right? But it gets even worse though, because the girls start talking about how their husbands are their long stabby things, and the men start talking about using golf clubs to whack people off from a distance. I mean, honestly, the whole thing is a complete disaster, so I just hope no kids were watching at the time, because the poor parents would have a lot of questions to answer.
Wake her up.
Yeah,
and she said, look, it's happened a few times that the front door is open, and so I grabbed this long stabby thing that I have next to the bed just in case someone breaks in.
A long stabby?
Yeah, because your bloke's got to protect his family, right?
Yeah.
So it got me thinking, what do you have by your bed that is long and stabby or whatever that is going to make a mess of someone who tries to break into your house and try and steal something from your home?
Wilkinson.
Free access.
Georgie, do you have something?
Well, Tim's my long stabby thing, but I used to have the Olympic torch under the bed when I was single. But yeah, now I've got Tim.
That's an excellent
Lucky.
long stabby thing. Multitude of uses.
Exactly.
Well
Thanks,
done.
Lise. You're
Yeah.
hearing me.
Yeah, totally. My husband's
What's wrong?
My husband's useless.
Is he?
Completely. He sleeps through.
Got an intruder coming into your house. Why would you want to actually stab them? That means you've got to get up close and personal with them. I'd want to be standing back and whacking them off from a distance.
So you don't have So what are you saying? You don't have a long stabby
I'm just going
thing?
out for a while.
Here we go.
Number 7. Okay, I'm turning this video over to you guys because I just don't know who's being cringier, Jake Paul and Team 10 or the reporter that obviously doesn't know a whole lot about YouTube. Anyways, you probably already know the story, but if you don't, here's the short version. Jake Paul and his crew have been causing chaos in their neighborhood by driving recklessly and drawing in crowds of fans, and the neighbors aren't happy in the slightest. Apparently, after they set fire to a bunch of furniture in a pool, a reporter showed up to talk to them, and Jake responded by climbing onto the news van, dabbing, and shouting, "What are those?" at the poor guy's shoes. Honestly, it was super funny, but let me know in the comments below who you think should be embarrassed, Jake Paul or the reporter. I'd probably have to say the reporter on this one.
We used to be a really nice, quiet street, and now we're just this, like, war zone. We're families here, and we're more than happy to have them live here if they're respectful of their neighbors, but they're not.
But as neighbors living with this every day, we're fed up.
Look at them! Shortly after we arrived, look who came out to greet us.
Jake, Channel 5!
Yeah, they're not subscribed! They're not subscribed!
Are we live?
Hablamos español también.
Oh, está bien, te amo mucho.
Jake, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't crawl up there.
Why?
For sure. There's nothing we could do, though. The Jake Paulers are the strongest army out there, Dab.
I have one question for you.
Yeah?
What are those?
I guess he didn't like my shoes, but I don't think they're so bad. Neighbors I spoke with tell me next week they're going to have a special meeting with city leaders and police.
Number 6. Okay, being 100% real with you guys, I really don't know whether the person in this video is super brave or super dumb, because even if the prank was pretty funny, and believe me, it is, I'm not really sure it was worth it. Basically, this hiker ended up on the news when they had to be rescued, but the helicopter shots showed they'd pretty much been planning it all along. Like, they've written a huge message out on the rocks, and even though the embarrassed reporter pretended not to be able to read it, it's pretty clear what the message was.
This note written in rocks is actually relating to her or not, but wow, that was really dramatic. There's a reason they call these people heroes. I mean, they were going at a really good clip there. We've had some hot weather. I guess, the good news is, yeah, send, what does that say? Send something, please. Doesn't say help.
Well, but it looks like the hiker or that young woman appears to be okay physically. Looks like it was a successful operation.
Number 5. So I think everyone knows that being a reporter can be stressful, but if your job is making you this angry, you might want to book a spa day or go hug a puppy or something. Honestly, I'm not sure why this guy got so upset. I mean, he pretty much got through the entire story without screwing up once, but as soon as he finished his sentence, he threw his notes all over the floor and just scowled at the camera. With all that said, the best bit is how the host back in the studio covered for him, because for some reason he tried to pass it off as technical difficulties.
Christian and Chris Newsom. Volunteer TV's Gordon Boyd was in court today. He joins us now with details on the sentencing. Gordon?
Alan, victim statements have given Chris and Shannon's parents the chance to confront their children's convicted killer, and in Hugh Newsom's case, to actually get an answer out of him. But the judge says what swayed the sentencing decisions, at least in his mind, were George Thomas's missed opportunities in a tight space, which persuaded him, as he said, that staying and doing nothing is as heinous as doing it all.
All right, we're having technical difficulties, as we can see, a little frustration there. We'll try to get back to that in just.
Number 4. You know when a TV moment is so funny and ends up getting made into remixes and memes all over the internet? Well, this is definitely one of those videos. Anyways, to sum it up, this reporter was just trying to get through a story about fireworks, but when he asked a nearby kid what kind to buy, the kid responded with, "Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?" Now that line is pretty hilarious all by itself, but what makes it even better is the reporter has no idea how to respond, and the kid who took him down is actually his own son, which makes it even more brutal.
And then the 4th of July, here's an actual customer out here. What's the best kind of firework to buy?
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
Where are your parents? Kid's sketchy. Back to you guys.
Number 3. Now I've got to give credit to the news channel for this one, because they actually posted the blooper themselves just so everyone could laugh at this ridiculous moment. Basically what happened was a simple slip of the tongue made this weather report way more inappropriate than it should have been, because a weatherman literally asked the audience to watch out for Thor's lightning balls. I think the funniest thing is if you watch his face closely, you can see the reaction to screwing up just before the camera cuts away, and that's almost more priceless than the screw up itself.
But as far as the here and now is concerned, for tomorrow, just be prepared for Thor and his lightning bolts.
Number 2. Okay, I don't even want to go into too much detail about what's happening in this clip, so I'll leave it up to you to get a closer look if you're brave enough. All I'll say is that this poor reporter had to cover a pretty insane Iron Man competition, and by the end of the story, I bet she wished she never even bothered. So it starts off pretty normal but crazy. I mean, the worst thing that happens is someone offers her a beer, but pretty soon the camera's showing stuff it probably shouldn't, and she even gets sprayed with something at the end. Now it could be beer, but I'm willing to bet that it was definitely someone throwing up.
Well, you saw it here live just about a half hour ago. Hundreds of people descending on the Hermosa Beach to begin a unique Ironman competition.
Yes, it includes running, paddling, and drinking beer. Wendy Birch in the middle of the action. Good morning.
Yeah. I once had a dream like this, that I was in the middle of a mosh pit with a lot of people who were drinking.
Where's your beer?
Hi, how are you?
Need a beer.
No. Come on over here, my friend. How are you? It's getting ugly. This is the true test of the endurance. Now let's just recap. You guys ran a mile on the beach. You paddled a mile in the ocean. And now what are you doing?
Chugging a six-pack of beer.
Chugging a six-pack of beer. I feel that you are very well. What's going on? What's going on? Oh, no! It's getting ugly. It's getting ugly. This is my friend Sarah. Sarah was trying to finish her six-pack.
Welcome to the Ironman.
It looks like you've been training for this for some time.
I've been doing this for about 25 years.
Time to pack up, Wendy, I think. It's a locker room celebration.
Number 1. Okay, so I know this reporter is being pretty unprofessional in this next clip, but if we're being honest, I'm pretty sure we'd all do the exact same thing. So Anderson Cooper has had to read some pretty insane stories for the ridiculous segment, and he ends up laughing fairly often, but I think this might be the worst case of the giggles he's ever had. Basically, he had to read this pun-filled story about peeing in public, and it got the better of him pretty quickly, so all you can do is watch as he just continuously laughs.
Anderson Cooper 360. CNN, weeknights at 8 and 10 Eastern.
Time now for the ridiculous, and tonight we're adding Gerard Depardieu, noted French actor, Academy Award nominee, public urinator. That's right, I said urinator. Last night on a flight from Paris to Dublin, Depardieu reportedly peed on the floor. Apparently the plane was on the tarmac, and the flight attendant told him he'd have to wait to use the bathroom until takeoff. So Depardieu created his own little jet stream, or as the French would say, oui, oui. That made me giggle every time I read it. He hasn't commented on this incident. Depardieu. I know you got it, but... All right, sorry.
And there's our video on the top 10 most embarrassing and funniest moments caught on live TV. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe so you see whenever I upload a video. Also, if you have your own top 5 or top 10 idea, feel free to search my handy form in the description to submit it. With that said, thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.